Well, hello there, you lovely people. mikeymegamega here, and welcome to another tutorial. Right, this one is actually going to be more of like a art-based, frequently asked questions answer session, and also kind of a bit of an overview of how to draw in general and how to practice. And the reason why I'm making this is because I get a lot of very similar questions from you guys about the pens and things I'm using, the paper I'm using, how long I've studied art, or how do I get better at this or that and the other. And I thought that instead of just, because I do love getting into these massive chats with you guys in the comment section, but I'm having a lot of very similar conversations. So I thought I'll do this frequently asked questions video so that I can actually maybe just link you this as an answer. So welcome if I've done so. Pay attention, there's some good information in here. And also it gives me an opportunity to talk about the kind of method behind, I think, learning to draw anime quite well as obviously the actual techniques that you get in a lot of my other tutorials. So follow me along. This shouldn't be too much of a long video, and it should hopefully be really helpful to you guys who are just starting out or kind of don't know what to get involved with. Firstly, as a bit of an example book, I will be using the old Sexy Anime Girls 2014 sketchbook, last year's bad boy. I have included this in a video before, I think, when I launched my Patreon page, really just as a bit of a backdrop, but this time it will be a good opportunity to kind of talk about my method when I was kind of picking up drawing again. So, first questions first, really. People often ask, what kind of paper am I using? So, here's a cheapo sketchpad from W.H. Smith. It is 135 GSM, which means grams per square meter, and basically it's kind of a way of weighing how much a massive square sheet of paper might be. The heavier it is, usually the better quality. So watercolour paper would be really heavy, printer paper would be really light. First things first is don't wait for the best equipment in the world to start drawing. If you want to draw, do so straight away. Grab some cheap printer paper. Don't worry about it. Like, you're never going to draw a masterpiece straight away. Well, unless you're an absolute, prodigy. So get your practice in. Don't wait. If you're going to use lighter paper, one of my first tips is don't just work on one sheet of paper on a table. Work on several sheets of paper, because that will give you a softer writing surface, and it means pencils and pens react a bit better to it. So bear that in mind. And in terms of pens and bits, let's have a quick chat. Firstly, these are the cheap mechanical pencils I've been using in all of my drawing tutorials and all of my videos to date. Nothing special here. Super cheap pack by Papermate. Not that I'm really kind of sponsored by them or anything. Literally, a big pack of disposable mechanical pencils. Mechanical because it means that I can just break off the end of a nib and it'll just immediately stay sharp because I'm basically a lazy person. And disposable because I'm not worried about them. It just means I can just pick out a new pen when one breaks and get on with my life. I've got a big pack here. On the back, I've mentioned this before, but it even has a picture of a human hand holding a pen. So if you are a complete retard and you've never held anything, it even gives you instructions here. Unbelievable. Brilliant. Get out of the way. Next thing is the inking. You guys will probably notice that one of my favourite inking tools is a Rotring extra fine nibbed art pen. Oh, look at that little bad boy. I actually lost my first one and had to buy a replacement, which made me really sad. This is like maybe 10 quid off of eBay. And this one has a really heavy flow. So it's very good for natural, smooth, curving, thick lines. Not so amazing for loads of high definition bits. So I often drop into a 0.3 nib of one of these bad boy uni pens, a fine liner. So this is like an orthographic ink pen. These are really sweet bad boys. They've got a really strong and consistent construction line. Often used in architectural drawing. And we can fill in some large areas with a super cheap OHP permanent black marker. So sometimes I'll just get involved there if I need to really fill in some stuff. Probably use this very pen to write that very title at the end of the last video. Oh, and these boys, they've got one hell of a smell. So, if you're into your solvent abuse, which I strongly don't recommend, then wow, they're a bad boy. When it comes to rubbing out the artwork, obviously just a simple eraser. What I've started to notice is that rubbers have like about a 3-year lifespan or something. So this, now when I rub out, actually kind of makes marks on the paper. So I do need to replace that. Do bear that in mind. I'd love to review and tell you all about these other sort of pens. I've got a Zig Cartoonist dip pen here, and I've got like a Tachikoma nib and a Maru nib. The fact is, sadly, I simply haven't used them yet. So that will come in the future. And when it comes to painting in large areas with my watercolour work, I often use a lot of black ink as well to get that in. I do water it down. And when it comes to the watercolours itself, again, nothing special. This is just a standard watercolour kit that I've bought from an art shop. It was not expensive. Doesn't need to be, because watercolours, I don't know, there's probably a lot of difference in quality, but I haven't noticed it yet because I'm not that good. Right, okay, so that covers a lot of the equipment very, very quickly. Oh yeah, and masking fluid. If you're painting with watercolour, learn about masking fluid. This stuff is freaking amazing. Oh, it's changed my life. Right, so hopefully that probably answers a lot of your very basic questions. If you said, Mikey Mega Mega, what are you using? What paper do you work on? There are your answers. Lots and lots of different bits. Play around. Find out what's right for you. The equipment I use that I think is great might not be great for you guys. Oh, and here's a good tip as well, especially for the watercolour. Get yourself a white gel pen, a white ink pen, and it's really good for just highlighting bits out. That is the final tip there. Right, so that's a bit of information about the equipment and the bits. Let's crack on and let's talk about learning to draw anime and your methods and so on. I mean, I do apologise, guys, if this video is all over the place. I have literally just woken up again, realising that I didn't make a video last night, so I need to make one straight away and bust it out on the internet for you guys. But what fun we have. I need some tea. Okay, so let's get into this and talk about drawing in general. So, these are not going to amaze you, these drawings. These are a lot of older ones, getting a bit of shadow in there. Shall I put it up like so? Let's just... Lovely. And basically, a lot of the questions I get are about how long I've been drawing, you know, how long have I been doing art and so on. I did take art at school when I was 16 or 18, so that is years and years ago, because I am 30 at the moment. I'm a real man, I'm an adult. And really got into that. However, I didn't develop an anime style until years and years and years and years later. It was only over the last couple years I actually decided to get back into it after a massive break. So I have some basic art technique under my wing, but really I got most of my tips from YouTube tutorials and most of my skill from looking at other anime. And what I mean is that this picture, this isn't one that I've made up. This exists on the internet somewhere. I looked for Ivy, a character from Soul Calibur, as you probably recognise. And then I started to basically practice, and this sounds really weird, but practice looking really, really well. So if you see an image that you like, look at it. Understand what it is about the image that makes it work. Is it that it's got really strong perspective? Does the character have an excellent pose? If you make assumptions about a character without really understanding what you're looking at and then try to draw it, you're not going to be able to draw it very accurately. And what I'm talking about here is kind of one half of what I would consider to be art maybe. And I'm talking about technical skill. So I'm essentially here showing no artistic skill, but I'm practicing my technical skill. I'm looking at a picture, and I'm trying to copy it as accurately as possible. I don't know if you can see on the character, but you can see I even sort of had goes at construction lines to kind of mark out how I'd have the shapes of this collapsible sword and so on. And this was a couple of years ago in the beginning of 2014 where I was really just looking at pictures which I thought were great and trying to copy them accurately. So I'm developing my skill again. I'm starting to understand how do the arm shapes work, how does like a good thigh sort of gather shadow, and how does the leg kind of curve in and so on. I'm not developing an artistic style at all. I'm developing that technical ability. So again, really got into an awesome Cami phase because there are some awesome pictures of Cami on the internet. And again, just trying to really copy it out, working out the framework behind things. So I might watch a tutorial. You guys might have seen similar tutorials from me about how to build up the framework of a basic body shape or like a sexy character using sort of simple construction shapes. You can actually look at finished pieces of work and try to imagine those construction shapes back in. So I could imagine like... actually, let's use this seeing as there's no ink on it. I can imagine a vague kind of oval shape that would be the chest here. I can see that this character's head measures a good couple of the body proportions before it goes about halfway. So it's about a sort of 6.5, 7 head high character and so on. And on this one, I don't even know if you can see down here, but I drew this out and I actually had the feet coming top of the foot about here. I don't know if you can even see where I've rubbed it out over the years. But I did that, stopped, and then had a really good look. Once I'd finished my drawing, I looked at the original and I asked myself, is my drawing really accurate or are there differences? So I looked really hard and saw that actually my drawing character is a little bit short, in fact. And I think it's short because I can realise I made the leg joints a bit too high, and then I went straight into the calf muscles. So I rubbed it out, redrew it from about down here onwards, and made the legs the appropriate length. And that's the thing. Draw, and then assess your own work. Look at what you've drawn, especially if you're copying, and see how accurate was it to what you've been drawing in. This is a character, I'm not really pleased with this to be honest at all, from a Korean artist who does loads of video games packaging. I can't remember their name. Their original work is amazing compared to this. But again, just kind of having a go with really simple shadow tones. So either somewhere's in shadow or it's not. No gradations, just A or B, light or dark. And also having a play around with materials as well. Pick yourself a challenging character or a challenging drawing. Have a go. Start to develop that technical skill. Here's more Cammy. I like this because of the pose on the arms and the angle. Although it's a weird clenched bum thing. Looks like she's trying to hold a pencil. It's just ugh. And then Korean artist again. So it's all about, at the moment, when I was getting back into it, warming up my own style, I was copying. I was looking at images I really liked, looking very carefully at what I liked about them and developing the skill. I looked at a lot of Rake's work. Absolutely go check out his work. He's freaking phenomenal. So a lot of his character designs made their way in. This is also a Rake image. Really like this one just because there's a lot going on. So as I was drawing it, I was just working out, okay, this area takes up this much space. This character is actually going to sort of be boxed out into this area, and then started to fill in with the shapes. And another thing that you should keep an eye out for is not just the shapes of the line, but the nuances. So a curve might go in slightly before it goes out, whereas if you just glance at it, you'd think it's all one smooth line and so on. Or the line weights, you might have much thicker lines showing things and much thinner lines showing other things as well. So really do become very observant. Make no assumptions about what you're seeing. Look at all the lines and how they meet. Because as human beings, we go around and we look at stuff every day, and our brains make loads of assumptions about what you're seeing. Like you might see just like an intricate corner under a roof somewhere like that. Don't know why I'm picking architecture again. And your brain will make loads of assumptions about how that fits together, just so that in a fraction of a second you can live your life and move on and just look at something else. But if you're getting into art and anime styles and so on, you need to stop and really start looking at things. It's going to make all the difference. That is like the most basic core skill. Look at stuff and learn about it. Really observe well, and that's going to allow you to copy even better and build up the technical skill. So again, this is a Rake character, Shoshachi. These are some characters from anime. Obviously, these are Evangelion girls, but they are dressed as maids, possibly an adult anime. I'm not 100% sure. And again, I'm just I'm playing around with different character styles, different artist styles, and just learning sort of what builds that up. So how do they kind of weight the eyelashes round on these types of characters? How do they kind of animate the pose and so on? How do they draw hair? This way, it just allowed me to become sharper again. So we've got more Rake, kind of classic Devil Girls, more random busty characters of slightly darker skin. Everybody likes a bit of that. And another thing you need to do is, and this is also massive once you're starting to get your drawing in, is learn about anatomy. Okay, you don't need to become a doctor or a specialist or a physio, but do learn really basic things about the muscle groups that you get in the body. In the back's always one that people miss out, and the legs and so on, and the stomach. Learn why certain lines are certain shapes. Why is a thigh a certain shape? Because it's got a lot of major muscle groups that kind of bunch in and kind of reach across. And once you learn about those lines, it allows you to manipulate them in your own time, work on your own style. It's a very, very strong foundation. So there's more Rake, that was a maid. And this is all about how you're going to become sharper. So you're building up your technical side, but really that's not the result. What you want, or at least what you should want, is your own artistic style. The technical skill is brilliant, you do need that, but the result needs to be that you have your own style completely. So you can copy as much as you want and become really sharp, learn about the anatomy and the shapes. But then what I'd recommend is still stick with artists that you absolutely love. You really like their style, you want to draw just like them, that's great. Start to draw, however, your own characters. Have all their work up on screen and use them as references. So you might copy out the eyes, or you might copy out a pose of an artist that you love, or the shape of a body. Do it for your own characters and your own designs. This still isn't your perfect own original work, but it's your own designs in another artist's style, which is a great kind of bridging gap. So start drawing what you want to draw, and just have loads of images of work that you already love around you, so you can look at it all the time and then start to copy that style. Then what you can start to do is, once you really get used to things, is have less and less of other people's work around you. Just start drawing your own characters in your own style. Work out how it kind of flows and is naturally something that you want to do as your own techniques. As you can see as we're going on, some of the images now actually made it into my earliest ever YouTube videos when I started. So this is like a very popular sexy anime Saturday I did a long time ago. So are some of these ones. So these ones all now, I'm only flicking through them a bit quicker, because if you go into my Sexy Anime Saturdays playlist, will I put a link up? Maybe in the description, because I need to edit this video really quickly. You'll see that I've got a lot of these as tutorials or videos already uploaded from way, way back. Oh, bless the days. And again, this is me looking at other artist styles, having a play around. If we keep going, oh, here's another rake, along in a video, we eventually reach a point where I am just drawing. This is another tutorial as well, all about dimensions. Watch it. Very, very important. I eventually start drawing my own characters in other artist styles. So I think this is like a Mogodan character. And then, more tutorials and stuff in this old sketchbook. 2014, what a year. So yeah, started drawing my own characters, and eventually started getting them in my own style. So these are the requests, yeah. In fact, this is the first request one we did, Rangiku from Bleach, with some massive circles going on there. Quite a popular video. And by now, I've gone from a bit where I'm copying other people's work to build up my skill, and now I'm actually able to start drawing my own characters, so to speak, in my own artistic style, because I've got the basics down. So it's nice to start getting all these things underway. More tutorials and bits. Oh, this is fun. This is when I actually started introducing pen and pencil together, oddly enough. So I'd have all the pencil work, bust out the Rotring Art pen and start filling in the black gaps with another marker and so on. So that had a mixed but fairly good effect. This picture is always so-so. This one I hate as well. The pose is just really weird, and I drew just a random block for her to sit on, Celebi. Love this one, but this is somebody else's design again that I was working on. I really wanted to get into this pose and this style, so I'll have to find out who the original artist is. And then at the back of this book there's just some other projects and bits. So any other bits, do they come to mind that you should bear in mind? Yes, indeed. When you're working with pencil and you're doing lots of pencil drawing, two things. If you are right-handed, start with the left part of your drawing. I know you might have like an object that you need to draw in full, so obviously get your framework out of the way. But as a general rule of thumb, work from the left and go to the right so that you're not smudging your work. And if you are drawing all over the page, give yourself a smudge guard. I sometimes use a playing card. Really simple. I rest my hand on the card, I draw around the paper, and because the natural oils and greases from my hand don't go on a page, it doesn't make the whole paper brown, it doesn't smudge everything. So use a playing card. Sometimes this is a bit of a smooth ride, so it's good for natural lines. And if you want something that sticks down a bit better, just get yourself a little square of clean paper. Put that down, rest your hand on that. It will stop you getting pencil and ink on here. It will make the world of difference. And, oh yeah, another tip as well, which you're probably going to see on any other tutorial, but I do recommend it. When you're using a ruler with a pencil, obviously you can have a ruler flat and you can draw a straight line. Yeah, okay, well done, idiot. If you're using a ruler with an ink pen and you put the ink line right against the ruler, the ink's actually going to touch the side of the ruler. When you take the ruler away, it's going to make these horrible marks. It will ruin your work. So when you use an ink pen with your ruler, turn your ruler upside down. Absolutely massive. So your pen will still use the ruler as a straight line guide, but there's no part of a ruler that's touching the ink straight away. And that will save so many art pieces. I wish I'd known about that when I was a young boy. But c'est la vie. Okay, everybody. Well, we've already titled this one from 2014, so go away. I hope you found this kind of really brief, short video useful. Oh, Jesus, I say short. I can see it's nearly 20 minutes on the camera phone. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was long again. But basically, everybody, I wanted to answer some of your very most common art-based questions. So if I've linked you straight to this video, it's just to make my life a bit easier. I love otherwise getting the comments and getting to chats, especially art conversations, or talking about anime or Final Fantasy VII. You know what a geek I am. So I hope you found it useful. Remember those tips when it comes to learning to draw. Okay, that is massive. Learn to be really observant. If you really like somebody else's art style, What do you like about it? Are the eyes really cute? Start drawing them. Have you drawn yours exactly the same? Maybe your eyes are a bit too close together, or maybe the lines weren't the same thickness. So stop, look again, draw it again. Draw that same picture, draw it more accurately to the style. Build up your technical skill, and then eventually you'll be drawing without any reference. You'll be doing your own characters and your own thing, and then you'll have your own artistic skill as well. Never stop practicing. I practice all the time. I have another proper arty type sketchbook, whose pages I only actually show on Patreon from time to time, although I'm really behind on doing that as well. Thank you for your Patreon support. But never stop practicing. Don't just watch my videos, obviously. Watch loads of art tutorials on YouTube. See how other people do things. It will really kind of broaden your abilities. Okay, excellent. Well, I hope you found this video useful. If you have not, then, you know, you're just an idiot. I don't want to be your friend. Go away. Go watch something else. I don't know. No, come back. Come back. But otherwise, love you guys. Get in the comments. Tell me what you want to see next. I know what the most common ones are. We need boob tutorials, leg tutorials, bum tutorials, and so on. They are all going to be coming in the future. But otherwise, come get involved. All right, everybody, click like, click subscribe. I love you guys, and peace.